In this video, I'm going to introduce you to a new topic we're going to be learning, which is all about equations. So in our first lesson today, I'm going to first describe to you the difference between an expression and an equation. After I describe the difference to you, I'm going to teach you how to do 3 different types of questions which you will be required to do in your textbook. The first question is to be able to differentiate between an equation and an expression. So you'll be given a list of expressions or equations and you'll just be able to tell me which is which. The second type of question, I will give you an equation with an unknown box and you have to tell me what number will go in that box to make the equation true. Thirdly, I'm going to give you a written description of an equation and you're just going to write out what that equation is telling me. Let's firstly have a look at the difference between an expression and an equation. Now you probably would have remembered the term expression when we previously learnt all about algebra. So when you think of an expression, it's just simply a phrase, okay, part of a sentence, and we actually simplify expressions, okay? So think of them just as a phrase. Now an example of an expression could just be 7x plus 3. So it doesn't have an equal sign, it's just a phrase, okay? Now let's have a look at equations. So equations are basically a sentence. So we solve equations. So as compared to expressions, we simplify them, but equations we solve, okay? Now equations have a left-hand side and they have a right-hand side. Now the left-hand side is equal to the right-hand side. So you can have just a numerical equation like 7 plus 3 equals 10. So here is its left-hand side. I'm going to say LHS. And here is its right-hand side. I'm going to say RHS. And what I'm saying is, I'm just showing you here with scales, 7 plus 3 is equal to 10. So the left-hand side is the same amount as the right-hand side, and the way we show that is with an equal sign, okay? Now, we can have numerical equations like we have here, 7 plus 3 equals 10, but we can also have algebraic equations. So algebraic equations contain a pronumeral, which is a letter. Okay, often what we do is, you'll have, just say that this here is 5x plus 2, let's say equals 30. Now with algebraic equations, we're going to solve for x. So we're going to find out what that pronumeral is to make the equation true. Okay, so I've got a definition here of an equation. So it's just down there in the orange. I want you to pause the video and write that down. So the definition is that an equation is a mathematical sentence which indicates that 2 expressions have the same value. Now, equations always have an equal sign. So what I'm saying when I say 2 expressions have the same value, if you looked at this algebraic expression here, equation, 5x plus 2 equals 30. You've got an expression here, 5x plus 2, and then 30, okay? So they're equal in value. So now we're going to have a look at some examples. So I'm asking the question, are the following equations or are they expressions? So remember, equations are separated by an equal sign, whereas expressions are just a mathematical statement and they don't have an equal sign. So let's look at part A. 3 plus 5 equals 8. Now this is an equation. The reason it is because it's got an equal sign here. And 3 plus 5 is equal to 8. So on the left hand of the equation, it's equal to the right hand side of the equation, okay? So for instance, if you have 3 tennis balls and 5 tennis balls, and on the other side you've got 8 tennis balls, the same value, okay? So I'm just going to write EQT. which is going to be short for expression. Part B, 4 equals 12 minus 8. Okay, this is also an equation because it's got an equal sign. Okay, what it's saying is 12 minus 8 is equal to 4. Okay, so you will just write EQT, short for equation. Part C, 3 plus U. Now, do you notice it doesn't have an equal sign? So all it is it's just a mathematical statement, and a mathematical statement is just an expression. So we're going to say that that's an expression, so EXP can be short for expression. Now, if you think you're starting to get a hang of it, why don't you pause the video and see if you can answer part D, E, and F. If you don't quite feel like you can, let's do them together, okay? So, part D, 3 bracket x plus 2. Now, it doesn't have an equal sign, so therefore it's just an expression, okay? So you can just write EXP, short for expression. E, 3 brackets x plus 2 equals 6. Okay, that equal sign there, therefore, implies that it's an equation. So what it's saying is this left-hand side, 3 brackets x plus 2, that is the same as 6. Okay, so we write EQT, short for equation. Lastly, 1F, 5 take away 3x minus 2. There's no equal sign, so therefore it's just a mathematical statement, which is an expression. So we're just going to write EXP, short for expression, and there you go. In this second set of questions, I'm going to ask you what number can replace this blank box, okay, that I've given here to make the equation true. So remember, with an equation, the left-hand side has to equal the right-hand side. So we're going to work out what number is going to go in that blank box to make the equation true. So let's have a look at part A. It says 4 plus something gives 12. Okay. So 4 plus 8 gives 12. So another way you can work that out, you can go 12 take away 4 gives you 8. Okay, so let's just write in 8 there. Okay, now we've made the equation true because this left-hand side, 4 plus 8 is equal to, so the same value as our right-hand side, which is 12. And there we go. Now let's go into the next one. 108 divided by something gives 9. Now, if you know your times tables, you will know that 9 times 12 gives 108. Okay, so 108 divided by 12 equals 9, and that's your answer. Part C, 4 times something gives 16. So what multiplied by 4 gives 16? So you might have guessed 4. So now we've made our equation true. So the left-hand side, 4 times 4 is equal to our right-hand side, which is 16. So they're worth the same value. Now, if you feel that you're starting to get a hang of these questions, why don't you pause the video, see if you can work them out, then you can press play and see how you've done them, okay? Otherwise, let's do them together. So, 10 take away something gives 3, okay? So 10 take away 7 gives you 3. Just put our 7 here. Now in our next two set of questions, they're going to just require one more step, okay? They're not necessarily harder, but I'll show you what I mean. So it says blank box times 3 gives you 27 minus 3. So our first step is to work out what this equals. 27 take away 3 just gives you 24. Now our question is the exact same type of question as the other set of questions. So we can just simply work it out as usual. So 3 times 24, okay, you might have guessed 8. And that's our answer. So now our left-hand side is equal to our right-hand side. We've made the equation true. Now the last question, it's got blank box times 2 plus 3 equals 13. So let's look here. Something times 2, when you add 3 to it, is going to give 13. So you might have guessed 5. So that's just saying 5 times 2 equals 10. And when you add 3 to that, you get 13, and there you go. In our last set of questions, I've given you a written description, and I want you to write an equation based on that written description. Okay, so when we're writing this equation, we've given a written description. We need to look really careful at the terminology we're given. Okay, so let's have a look at part A. The sum of x and 5 is 22. Now, when we're thinking sum, what are we thinking? Hopefully, you've said addition. Okay, so what it's saying is x plus 5 equals 22. So the sum of x and 5 is 22. It's also saying x plus 5 equals 22. Okay. Part C, the product of A and B is 30. So when we're talking about product, we're talking about multiplication. So what it's saying is 8 multiplied by B is 30. But remember, when we're multiplying pronumerals in algebra, there's a simpler way of writing it. AB is actually the same as AB. Okay, it's a quick way of writing it, and we just know, because we're mathematicians, that there's a little invisible multiplication sign in the middle. Okay, so the product of A and B just equals 30. And there you go. Okay, the last question. 1/4 of t is 12. Now, if I remind you back to fractions, 1/4 looks like this. And it's saying 1/4 of t is 12. So what you can do is, you can write t over 4, and that is equal to 12. So hopefully that makes sense. So in this video, we've gone over the difference between an equation and an expression. So remember, an equation has an equal sign, and it's saying that the left-hand side is equal to the right-hand side, whereas an expression is just a mathematical statement. It doesn't have an equal sign. So we went through the 3 types of questions. I've got you to tell me whether the question was an expression or an equation. Then I gave you some equations with a blank box, and you needed to tell me which number goes in the blank box. And lastly, just now we went through written expressions, and I got you to put that in a mathematical equation. Okay.